Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Hello everybody, after last weekend's Wycombe away day, we're back in the Bournemouth studio and in the company of former Colchester, Hull, Charlton, Bradford and of course Bolton manager Phil Parkinson. And later on Adrian Clark will be here with us too. And just to make Phil feel at home, we're not going to pay you for 3 months. Right, we have 10 matches in the Championship for you, including a chance for Charlton to go to the summit. And at the other end, a winless Stoke were looking to get off the mark against Bristol City in League One. A very new-look Bolton Wanderers started their new life under Keith Hill with a trip to Rotherham, while at the top, leaders Wycombe and Coventry were both on the road this weekend. Into League Two, now Paul Hurst and Scunthorpe were desperate to add to their solitary point this season as they faced fellow strugglers Morecambe, and early leaders Exeter City were up against the O's. But we begin with Hull City and Wigan, who both find themselves at the wrong end of the table so far. Hull have the luxury of having two of the best players in the division in Jared Bowen and Kamil Grzycki, and of course they both started today. Now, despite the addition of a few high-profile names, Paul Cook's Laddics have struggled to get them going this term, and they remain unchanged from their last game against Barnsley. Good news is that Paul Walker is on the mic.
Joe Williams, brought in this summer from Everton. 14 new players through the door at Wigan in the summer months. It's still part of the bedding in process, I suppose, for them. Kiefer Moore looking for a free kick. He's got one. Kevin Stewart, the offender. What a pace on that, and flick towards goal and stabbed in! Wigan have the lead! From a set piece, Wigan edge in front. It's only their second goal away from home this season. George Long just couldn't keep hold of it, and Shea Dunkley was in there to finish the job. Grzycki. Pull back in neatly, Bowen, and again! It was only ever going to be Jared Bowen. He is your go-to guy for goals. Really good move this, Grzycki with the run. Pulled back in towards Bowen, first one blocked, but he reacts so quick to the second one, Jared Bowen. A real poacher. And it levels the scores here at the K-Con. And now Hull City invited to attack. Grzycki sidesteps Byrne, who takes him down, and that's the first yellow card of the game. Grzycki's away, and that's a rash challenge from Nathan Byrne, who has to watch his step now for the rest of the afternoon. Oh, it's fantastic! I did wonder if he had something like that up his sleeve. Grzycki whips it in with pace into the top corner. A stunning strike, and Hull City lead by 2-1. Thrown into Eaves. Safety first defending from Dunkley. Hull corner. Grzycki goes short for Elder. Left completely by Irvine, nearly had Wigan fooled. Now it comes to Honeyman, standing one up far post, real chance! Headed over by Tom Eaves. Lovely ball in as well. Really ought to have done better. Honeyman over the top, looking for Bowen. It's reached him. Leave it in, Eaves with a flick! How much contact he made is up for debate, but it certainly caused a problem for David Marshall. Eaves certainly threw himself at it. Might just have brushed his eyebrows. Irvine. Grzycki. Honeyman. Lovely ball inside. Great chance here. Brilliant save from Marshall to deny Callum Elder. Elder stopped by Marshall. And the Wigan keeper keeps his team in it. Stewart getting it back from Eves. Oh, it's brought back again, free kick. Yellow card for Wigan's goal scorer, Shea Dunkley. Goes for it again. Oh, he hits the woodwork, Eves! Well, only the paintwork denied Kamil Grosicki. Another goal from a set play. Very nearly repeating the trick. It's a brilliant hit again. Hits the post flush and came out. Eves into Honeyman, sticks it through the legs of Mulgrew, who prevented him from making his way towards the goal. It will be a yellow card for Charlie Mulgrew. Honeyman would have been through on goal there, you know. Kamil Grosicki straight into the wall. Device. Laid off for Irvine. Robinson. Away from Bowen. Williams. Byrne bringing it down. Jamal Lowe. Gelhardt, lovely turn. Has he got the finish? You bet he has! Make a note of this name. Joe Gelhardt. On from the bench, and the 17-year-old has scored a wonderful goal to drag Wigan level. It is a sumptuous turn to start with, but he still has lots to do here. On his left foot, and hammers it beyond George Long. The teenager squares the scores at the KCOM. Hull City 2, Wigan Athletic 2. Grosicki, he's got too much pace for Sam Morsey. In towards Tom Eves, got goal side of his marker. That's a great challenge from Williams, you know. Had to get his timing right, Joe Williams. Oh, they've come through it unscathed. For a split second here, Tom Eves gets goal side of Charlie Mulgrew. But what a sliding challenge that was from Joe Williams. And the referee does bring it to a close. Well, at times, really entertaining. 4 goals then, 2 apiece. It ends. Hull City 2, Wigan Athletic 2.
I think the kid's got that little bit of magic that you've seen there that can turn a game, that can change a game. It's priceless in football, the ability to create space out of nothing. And you see what his finish is like. He does it so naturally that when it actually drops on his left foot, you think to yourself on the sideline, goal. We see it every day in training. He's got such good manners about him as a young boy. He really is going to be a good player. And the best thing, he's a nice kid as well, and I think that's important in football, to have that little bit of humility.
We're still a work in progress, really. We've played well, we've competed in every single game. We just haven't had the rub of the green in terms of the results. But we feel as if it'll change. We're doing a lot of things right, like I say. We're creating a lot of chances again. We've scored 2 goals at home. When you score 2 at home, you should look to win the game.
I guess you've got to get your strikers scoring goals, haven't you? They're coming from everywhere else, but them.
Have you done your pro licence now? Your football badges?
Not yet, no.
Oh, you want to tell managers what to do now? I love these interviews, don't I?
He's always good fun. Listen, 2 obvious names were the heroes for Hull today, but you just love the discipline of this team and the work that goes on behind them.
Yeah, well, there's some unsung heroes in Hull's team to allow Grzyski and Bowen to have that licence to stay high and wide. Stewart, Honeyman and Jackson Irvine in the midfield, you know, work exceptionally hard for the team to give those two players that licence.
But Grzyski and Bowen. Let's start with Bowen. I'm going to blow your mind with stats here, right? He was the first scored today. 2 and a bit season stats for him. He has scored or assisted 46 goals. Grzyski has scored or assisted in the same amount of time 38 times.
Well, what I will say, you don't mind as a midfield player working that extra bit when you've got players who are producing for you. You will run that extra yard for those players, knowing that they're match winners for you. And both of them, you know, the stats are incredible. And week in, week out, they're producing moments of real quality.
I wonder in 2 and a bit seasons from now what the stats will be for young Joe Gelhardt, because I think Wigan have in their squad a little gem. He reminds me of a certain player. I'm not going to say it, but what about this?
No, what a goal. And young English player coming on. Scouse coming on.
Shaved head. 17. Oh, no, he's got nice hair.
And I bet glad he signed his contract before that goal, because they've tied him up for a few years, and he looks a real talent just on that little bit of footage alone.
Yeah, absolutely. He's brilliant today. Right, OK, in a moment we are off to Stoke, but Charlton first. And today was 100 years of the Valley. Originally an abandoned sand and chalk pit, the Swamp, as it was first known, held its first game on September the 13th, 1919, as Charlton A beat Somers Town 2-0 in the South Suburban League. Today, they face Birmingham City in the Championship.
Addicks legends and former fans' favourites were out in force to mark the Valley centenary, including our own Darren Bent and ex-manager Alan Kirbishley. This grand old stadium has seen more eventful first halves, it's fair to say. The visitors had its best chance. Lukas Jutkiewicz foiled by Dylan Phillips. Having lost their previous 3 travelling fixtures 3-0, the away day Blues were keen to avoid more away day blues. Pat Clotet's boys cast in the role of party poopers, and it really was a boy who came good for them. Kareem Rabti's cross for the club's youngest ever player on his first EFL start. Jude Bellingham, the pride of Birmingham. That strike, oh so sweet from the 16-year-old. Rather more pleasing on the eye than his first a scuff to see off Stoke. His team have started the campaign well, and Maxime Collin, not for the first time, surged pacily forward, providing Jutkiewicz with another opportunity, only to be thwarted again by Phillips. The hosts were missing Premier marksman Lyle Taylor and certainly lacked a bite as they looked to preserve their unbeaten record this season. They hadn't lost here in a regular league game for nearly a year. The long-serving Chris Solly would have been a fitting scorer, but keeper Lee Camp had other ideas. Clotet found his way into the referee's notebook for a stray football that entered the field of play, an incident which led to opposite number Lee Bowyer throwing the ball back at the Birmingham bench, and he was sent off against his old club. The second 100 years at this venue getting off to a bad start for Charlton.
One ball left that technical area in front of me, and went in there, and then the Mr. Referee came and asked me if I knew who was responsible kicking that ball there, or I would get the booking. So, and I said, well, just get me the booking, because in the end of the day, I think it was just only a little detail, you know.
Someone from their dugout threw the ball on the pitch to waste time or whatever. Like, I've never seen nothing like it. Then someone kicks it off and it comes to me. And I shout along, is this your ball? And they say, yeah, and then I throw it back to them. But apparently I can't leave the technical area, but how else am I going to get it down there? Do you want me to kick it down there? What? So he said, throw it back aggressively. Well, they're 20 yards away. How else am I going to reach it?
When you've made your worst start to the season in over a century, an early goal is just what you need, and that's exactly what Stoke got when Bruno Martins Indy's persistence was rewarded by an emphatic Sam Clucas finish. All that with only 4 minutes gone, and Stoke fans could dream that a first league win of the season may yet be around the corner. But that feel-good factor only lasted another 8 minutes. That's how long it took for the home side to shoot themselves in the foot. Indeed, the foot in question belonged to Joe Allen, and referee Jeff Eltringham thought it was too high in his challenge on Josh Brownhill. And that would mean a first early bath for the Welsh international in 8 years. Still, the home side had plenty of wind in their sails, and 10 against 11 didn't initially seem to be a problem at all. In fact, James McLean probably should have doubled their lead, although you could only admire the bravery of Dan Bentley, who took one in the face for his team. The Robins were without their on-loan striker Benik Afobe, who was Stoke's top scorer last season, but couldn't play against his parent club. And oh, the irony that his replacement, Famara Jeju, decided to open his championship goal-scoring account for the season in his place. While the West Country side have won 3 of their last 4, Nathan Jones had only won 3 of his last 28 matches in charge of Luton and Stoke. And yet a heroic victory was so nearly his when Clucas took aim from distance. It seemed the footballing gods weren't smiling on Stoke or Jones on that occasion, and they were positively mischievous at the other end when the visitors grabbed their winner. Thomas Edwards so unfortunate to bundle the ball into his own net. It means another Saturday comes and goes without a win or a point for Stoke, and another weekend of real worry for the manager too.
If I felt that we were a one-point team, I'd go to the owners and say, look, I can't change this. But we haven't been, and we've been against Derby here, we were brilliant. We've created chances, we've been a good, it's just we're not converting those, and we're not then seeing out games when we think. So we're very close to being a very, very good side.
16 points from 6 games was Swansea's best ever start to a Football League season. But at home to Forest, they were decidedly second best in the first half. Sammy Amiobi's shot, saved by Andy Woodman, wasn't the only let-off for the Swans before the break. Lewis Grabban came even closer. He crashed this volley onto the bar as Forest dominated the first half. After the break, Andre Ayew's header suggested that the unbeaten Swans were starting to get it together. But since losing to West Brom on opening day, Forest have also been unbeaten this season. Were it not for George Byers on the goal line, Joe Worrell would have given Forest the lead. But Byers was not destined to be the hero. His misplaced pass with 9 white shirts ahead of the ball gave Grabban the chance to launch a Forest counter-attack. He had the strength to hold off Matt Grimes and the presence of mind to find Alpha Semedo. But Benfica Loni has swapped one former European champion for another. This was his first goal in the red of Forest, who inflicted upon Swansea a first defeat of the season.
We never win 2 games in a row, so we make some great results at home, away. But we are in the right way, but we are so far. The league is so hard, so difficult. Every game, it's a new story. So tough like today, but congratulations for the players. They play in the right way and with the right mentality after 2 weeks break, so they come back on the league with the right mentality.
I just said to the boys, you know, I don't think after the game is the perfect time to go through loads of things. Like I said, there were some pluses in the game, but not enough, and we know that. But we'll stick to the plan, stick to the way that we work. We pick up again as soon as, and we get ready for the next game.
And so he should. What a start he's had at Swansea. But, you know, I'm really impressed with Lamouchi. He's taken his team away to Leeds, Charlton, Swansea, Fulham and lost none of those games. And you're just really impressed with the depth they have this season, Forest.
Yeah, well, firstly, I watched that game and I felt they deserved the win. But on 60 minutes to make 2 substitutions with Lolly and Semedo for Amiobi and Adoma, when tired legs, Swansea on a hot day, that made the difference really. And they've got strength in depth. They've got some terrific results on the road, and I can see it continuing. So they've got some good players. Exactly,
and it's at the other end too. You talk a lot to me about balance during the day, and Forest have that. I mean, Swans have scored 17 goals in their 5 previous home games, you know, and they've kept a clean sheet too. Right, let's talk about Stoke and Bristol City. Nathan Jones, very honest in his interview after, he said, you know, how long can the board be patient? But what do you do when you're captain, who's got all that experience, you get a 1-0 lead? The referee had no choice, did he?
No, you've got to feel for Nathan Jones tonight because it was a reckless challenge. I don't think the ref had any option at all. It was a challenge which could have easily injured Brownhill. Fortunately, I don't think it did. But the stage they're 1-0 up as well, and they go on to lose the game. And, you know, it was a crushing blow for Stoke.
You know, it's funny, even down to 10 men after this incident, Nathan Jones is not lying when he said they played well. They did play well with 10 men. You know, at times today they were good. It makes it even worse.
Yeah, they had a good spell with 10 men, and you know, they still deserve something from the game. But when things are going against you, things like that happen today with the sending off, and you know, they just got to draw a line through it and concentrate next week, because that squad is more than capable of getting results.
Talking to squad, no Phobie for Bristol City for obvious reasons. Can't play against Stoke. So there's Jesus, says, "All right, let me see it. I'll do the business for you now."
Well, that's what competition's all about, and Jesus was on the bench a couple of weeks ago, had to watch Afobe play, and he's got his chance today, and he's got to give Lee Johnson a selection problem next week. He scored a goal. He's in and amongst this one as well with his physical presence, causes his own goal, and he's a good player. He scored goals at this level, but now he's got real competition for his shirt.
Listen, Charlton Birmingham, a little bit ill-tempered, we'll get that in a second, but another teenage striker to eulogise about in Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, well, another fantastic moment for a young English player. He's already scored for Birmingham, even though that was deflected a couple of weeks ago.
Correct.
But this one being a match winner, you know, terrific finish, kept his cool. The challenge was coming in on him, but he still kept his cool and stuck it away. And what a moment for him and his family.
I just want to show you this, because we say 16-year-old, and then we take it now, it's normal to have 16, 17, 18-year-olds in the Championship doing the business. That's 4 years ago, mate. That's just 4 short years. That's one World Cup ago. He's that little kid there. Phenomenal.
No, incredible. What a great moment for him today. And it just shows you the opportunities there for young English players.
Yeah, and 4 years on, he replaced Trevor Francis as their younger ever scorer. After the break then, we have 2 trips to London and 1 to Teesside. Cannot wait.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
What's wrong with it?
Commencing standard emergency breakdown procedure.
Relax, I'm with the AA. You just tap the app and help's on the way. You can even track the mechanic right to your side.
No one's going to turn up 3 million years into deep space.
OK, try that. Is there anything else?
Yeah, can you fix him? I can fix him.
You've done it all. You've broken every code and pulled the rebel to the floor.
4.3 million men in the UK experience erectile problems. Viagra Connect is available without prescription.
Hand over the chest and save yourselves, Captain.
You okay, Dad?
Yeah. It was worth it.
Thanks, Dad.
New Freddo Treasures with Cadbury Dairy Milk buttons and a surprise toy in every pack.
His heart is pounding. His body is still. He shuffles his chips as he thinks. Heart versus head. Emotion versus reason. He makes his move. Ready to play? Join 21.co.uk tonight and get £10 free.
I pledge to leave a gift in my will
to Cancer Research UK.
Because I want to beat cancer for my grandchildren.
My kids, your kids.
For the people I love.
Our work is about saving lives. So we'll use every ounce of all that we have to try and beat cancer sooner.
To create an unstoppable force.
I pledge to keep fighting.
To keep researching.
To keep progressing.
To never give in. Cancer won't win. We will beat cancer.
That
is my pledge.
Make a pledge right now to leave a gift in your will to Cancer Research UK. Together we will beat cancer for future generations.
We're learning about explosives.
Shall we order a takeaway?
Did somebody say just eat? Did somebody say just eat?
Fire up your
your career. Search apprenticeships.
Scottish Widows, taking on your... Or strong teeth. You don't have to choose. New Complete Protection from Corsidil has 8 specially designed benefits for healthy gums and strong teeth. New Complete Protection from Corsidil.
Thousands of new properties to buy or rent every month, 24 hours or more before Rightmove or Zoopla. If you're in the market, search onthemarket.com.
Rice, crispy squares, yummy, chewy, gooey, yeah. Marshmallows, squares, gooey, chewy, yummy, yeah. Tell yourself to square yourself.
IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Next time on Goblin Works Garage.
If us three can get in here, we've got to be able to fit some serious power in here, right?
That's what I'm talking about! Goblin Works Garage continues Thursday at 9, only on Quest and Quest OD.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back. 2 more Saturday games back-to-back now, ending at the Riverside, but starting at the Kyan Prince Foundation Stadium.
Luton hadn't won in this part of West London since 1984, and that stat didn't look like changing when they were a little too casual in clearing their lines after 3 minutes, and Eberechi Eze made shooting from distance look, well, just that. Although they'd won their last 2 matches, Luton are yet to keep a clean sheet this season, and that defensive frailty was evident on 20 minutes when Nahki Wells was left unattended to celebrate his 50th appearance for the club in style. Route 1 was working a treat on that occasion, and in truth it was one-way traffic as the home side threatened to run away with it. They were knocking on the door, and more specifically the woodwork, 2 minutes later when Eze took aim again. Simon Sluga was magnificently equal to it. The QPR number 10 was everywhere, sending the Hatters mad with a scintillating performance which was so good he almost scored with the back of his head. Still, a Rangers third surely wasn't far away, and inevitably Eze was involved, although the finish on this occasion belonged to Wells. Just 28 minutes gone and the home side were cruising, but complacency can make life complicated, as Joe Lumley discovered. And how good was Harry Cornick's precise finish to drag his side right back into it? The QPR keeper won't be trying that again in a hurry. Crucially, it gave the visitors a new lease of life, and they threatened to make the most of it just after the break, when James Collins marked his 100th Luton appearance with a 49th goal for the club. Last season's top scorer in League One already has 4 in the Championship. Jordan Hugill is just in front of him in the goal-scoring charts with 5 for the campaign, and the home side were hoping for another to add to that tally to make the game safe. It didn't come, but ultimately QPR didn't need it, as they collected their 3rd successive victory.
First half an hour we were very, very good. We got 3 up, we hit the bar twice, we put balls wide, and I thought we were really good, really sharp in that first half an hour. But we gave them a glimmer of a hope with a mistake. And suddenly, against a team like Luton, they've got quality throughout their ranks, and they play with a freedom. There's no great expectation upon them. They know they come up. They've got a winning mentality. We spoke as a group all week about the threat they pose, and they were a good second half.
They engulfed us from the start with their intensity, really, and I don't think we coped with it early on. Once we came to terms with it and made a few changes, we were in the game. I think it's credit to our boys that they didn't come here and crumble. There was a 3-0 down, I don't know what it was, after 25 minutes, to dig in, to fight, to play well, to control the second half, was really pleasing.
Excluding playoffs, this was the 500th league game at the Riverside. Ashley Fletcher was determined to mark the occasion with an early home goal. Liam Moore got a vital touch on his cross, and the ball somehow eluded the far post cavalry. Borough usually reign supreme in these Royals appointments, triumphing in the previous 5 meetings. Following a neat exchange, Paddy McNair took it upon himself to try and swing this one in their favour. More heroic defending from captain Liam with the help of his keeper Rafael Cabral. Reading hoped to be heading for a 3rd successive away win, but it was Jonathan Woodgate's team who produced the key moment on the hour. Marvin Johnson whipped over a free kick, Fletcher failed to connect, but the ball still hit the back of the net. Far from a classic, but they all count. They knew they'd go above their opponents in the standings with their 2nd win of term. Johnson set about establishing a cushion, only for Cabral to stop him from doing so in athletic fashion. Borough were clinging on as the contest drew to a close, though, as the visitors came on strong in search of the leveller. Lucas Boyer bore down on Darren Randolph's goal, but the left leg of the home keeper did the trick for the Teessiders. An excellent display from Randolph was required to clinch all the points. The Championship's chief of assists, John Swift, so nearly getting another one for Lucas João, only for Borough's man between the posts to produce another superb save. A match-winning one, in fact.
We had to dig in. We had to really dig in and show that steel and that desire to really defend. And like you say with Darren Randolph, that's what he's there to do, make them important saves, and he did it all last season as well.
First game of the season under Woodgate was so open. Now it's 4 without defeat, 2 wins, 2 draws, 1-0. Is he finding a bit of managerial nous?
Yeah, you feel as though they're getting there. First game, Luton away, 3-3, very open game, probably too open for Jonathan's liking. And now slowly but surely he's getting there. And today's result will be a good one when they haven't played particularly well, but still come away with the 3 points.
One of my bugbears is when a keeper has a great game and the opposition say, well, we were unlucky, like the keeper doesn't exist. There's a reason why you get clean sheets when Darren Randolph's your number 1. And I know you had him, didn't you, when he was younger? Yeah, Darren, when I was at Charlton, we had Robbie Elliott and Darren Randolph, 2 good young keepers. And Darren's got fantastic reflexes and he's capable of these big saves, which are match-winning or point-saving saves. And he did it all last year, as Jonathan said, and he's done it again today. You actually picked Elliott over him, quite not being critical, but you could see even then a young Darren was that good. Oh, yeah. I mean, both of those 2 young keepers had been out on loan, came back, and it was a close call between the 2. Robbie's gone on to have a good career, but Darren at the moment is the one playing first-team football and international football. Another young player you had was Nahki Wells, and you think that Warburton's got to bang right the way he's playing him? Yeah, Nahki's a type of player who needs to play up top with somebody ideally, and I think with Hugill he's got the ideal partner to get the best out of him, and the 3-5-2 which QPR are playing suits Nahki, and obviously you've got Ezzy's quality in behind as well, who's got the ability to slide those balls through. It's such a positive team, QPR. You know, when they fall behind in games this season, I kind of back them to come back into it, but when they're ahead by 3, there was mistakes to let them back in. It's exciting, but kind of a balance maybe needed there. Yeah, I mean, the goalkeepers let Luton back in it with a mistake when the game should have been dead and buried. But, you know, they're there and they're up around the top half of the table, and they could stay there with strikers like Hugill and Wells. OK, the lunchtime kick-off now, which saw 2 of the pre-season favourites meet as Fulham welcome Bilic's Baggies into their cottage. After defeat, wouldn't you? He's a fearsome character. Yeah, he's you know, he's done well in his managerial career and he's dropped down the Championship, but he's got a good club to try and get back into the Premiership, and they've got a good chance because they've got some good quality players. OK, let's roll on then. More Championship games still to come, and we'll be bringing you all 66 of the goals from Leagues 1 and 2, so don't go changing.
Did you bring the bibs? Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
First we learn, then we innovate. The Volvo XC60.
Introducing the new cordless hard floor cleaner from Karcher. Using only fresh water and detergent, get fast, sparkling results every time. Discover the new cordless range from Karcher.
I pledge to leave a gift in my will
to Cancer Research UK.
Because I want to beat cancer for my grandchildren.
My kids, your kids.
For the people I love.
Our work is about saving lives. So we'll use every ounce of all that we have to try and beat cancer sooner.
To create an unstoppable force.
I pledge to keep fighting.
To keep researching.
To keep progressing.
To never give in. Cancer won't win. We will beat cancer.
That
is my
pledge.
Make a pledge right now to leave a gift in your will to Cancer Research UK. Together we will beat cancer for future generations. At Lloyds Bank, our #1 priority is keeping your money safe. That's why we will never call and ask you to move your money into another account. Together, we can keep your money safe. Lloyds Bank, by your side.
Shall we order a takeaway?
Did somebody say just eat? Did somebody say just eat?
In the big stock clear out at Oak Furnitureland, there's £70 off this solid hardwood chest. It's only £279. Ends Sunday.
Want non-stop lasting matte? New lasting matte foundation from Rimmel London. Our new mousse foundation transforms to a powder finish. For a lightweight feel that lasts all day. A non-stop lasting matte for a non-stop you. New lasting matte foundation from Rimmel London.
Live the London look.
With Xero accounting software, you can spend less time on your VAT return and more on what you love. Xero. Get making tax digital ready.
Wouldn't it be nice if switching mobile networks was easy?
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older?
Now it's hassle-free. Just send a text and you're ready to switch to Sky Mobile in an instant.
Switch now to the only network that rolls your data for 3 years. Sky Mobile. Hello, possible.
Most important part of your teeth is the enamel, the white, hard, shining armour of protection all around your teeth. When that wears away, the underlayer, which is slightly yellower, starts to show through, and that becomes a little bit darker. I recommend Pro Enamel because it strengthens the enamel you have and it helps to protect the enamel.
The legend comes home.
You all right, John?
Pretty good.
Rambo, Last Blood.
The MotoGP Championship continues. Next stop, San Marino.
The battle has just come to life.
MotoGP highlights from San Marino. Monday at 6, new to Quest.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back. Ewood Park shortly, but first Preston North End and Player of the Month Daniel Johnson welcome Brentford.
Late arrivals at Deepdale should have known better. There have been 25 goals in the last 5 games between these two. And if you're a Preston fan and not in your seat within the opening 4 minutes, you'd have been disappointed to have missed Sean Maguire being quick on the draw to mark his return to the team. Brentford had struggled to clear their lines before Ryan Ledson's killer pass. There's never been a goalless draw in this fixture dating back to 1933. And 2019 maintained the free-flowing tradition. Saeed Benrahma took every opportunity to check Declan Rudd wasn't dozing in the sunshine. The goalkeeper's smile suggested the midfielder would have to try harder and from closer range to have even half a chance. Head coach Thomas Frank had sent out an unchanged Brentford team from last week's win against Derby. And with Benrahma clearly in the mood, the visitors looked good value for an equaliser. That sweeping pass prepared the way for Brian Mbeumo to go for goal, but still Rudd wouldn't be beaten. It was becoming a familiar story in the sunshine. This was a Preston side, remember, which had a 100% record at home in all competitions before today. Brentford continued to make the running. Inevitably, Benrahma's quick feet were involved, this time to set up Ollie Watkins charging in on goal, but Rudd's late knee bend was enough to thwart the Londoners' top scorer. If Alex Neil was feeling the heat on the sidelines with only a goal in it, his Preston players were staying cool, pacing themselves to prize another opening. That time came after 70 minutes when the Brentford defence completely ignored Darnell Fisher. They also missed the late run by Tom Barkhuizen, and suddenly Deepdale was celebrating. It wasn't a goal fest to match recent years, but 3 more points mean Preston are into the playoff places on the back of their best home start in 44 years.
The curious case of Derek Williams. The Blackburn defender had only scored once in 2.5 years before this season, but having hit the winner at Hull last month, the Republic of Ireland international's clearly got an eye for goal now. What an effort this was too, to put Rovers ahead in the first half against Millwall. Their first goal from open play at home this season. An ominous start for Neil Harris's side as well. They'd failed to beat Blackburn in any of their last 7 league meetings. Blackburn changed formation to 3 at the back for this game, but it was their attempts to overplay from the back that nearly allowed Millwall back into it. Ryan Leonard, perhaps inspired by Williams' exploits, tried his luck from range too. His wait for a first goal in 2019 goes on. With last year's player of the season, Danny Graham, receiving interest to move to Australia this week, Blackburn may need to source alternative goal scorers. Captain Elliot Bennett probably isn't the answer though, and he pounced on Murray Wallace's error from Bradley Dack's through ball. He knew he should have done better. But the chances kept coming their way after the break. Sam Gallagher teeing up Bennett to cross. Adam Armstrong's had a desperate run in front of goal with just 1 in his last 25 games. The former Newcastle striker showing great anticipation to get into a scoring position. Bartosz Białkowski's impressed in the early weeks of the season though, since his summer move from Ipswich. The same can't be said of Millwall's attack. Leonard again with a decent opportunity. Rovers' foundations this season are built on a rock-solid defence, and a 4th clean sheet in 5 games was rarely in doubt. And with 16 minutes remaining, Blackburn's dominance was rewarded. Appropriate that in his landmark 150th appearance for the club, Darragh Lenihan was involved. His cross perfect for last season's top scorer, Bradley Dack, to score his 2nd of the campaign. And that put Blackburn on course to move above their opponents in the Championship table. In the end, it could have been an even bigger victory. As Millwall pushed forward, a breakaway opportunity presented itself. Gallagher found substitute Joe Rothwell. He was entitled to shoot, even though Armstrong was begging for a tap-in. Białkowski kept him out again. A win that satisfied manager Tony Mowbray, who feels there's still more to come.
2-0 clean sheet again. I think that's that 4 clean sheets out of 5 now. It's they're doing okay. It's good to win games where you're not fluent and think, wow, we played well today. We didn't really play well today, but we got the job done.
We pressed hard, regained the ball in good areas, dominated a lot of possession. Worked hard over the international break. It made a little bit more football between the lines, and we got into some really good areas. Did we create enough? Well, the 5-man defence Blackburn had made it difficult for us to create around the box.
Yeah, he's bang right. There's very few things to talk about in terms of efforts for Millwall, and Tony Mowbray's kind of done your job there, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he said himself it wasn't the greatest performance, but it's another clean sheet for them. Bradley Johnson being a key player for them. He's up the quality level in that midfield by bringing him in, and obviously Dack is such a key player for them because he's a number 10, but he scores goals, and that was a great finish today.
It's weird for us because last season, everything good about Blackburn, we'd be talking about Graham and Dack, and now we've got to think about the 2 Bradleys in there. I mean, Graham didn't even get off a bench today, so a bit of depth as well. Yeah,
you need that in the Championship. You need players to, when it goes Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, you need to freshen the team up. But yeah, both the Bradleys did well. You know, Danny Graham's a terrific player over the last few years for them, but you need other options. But they can go back to him at any time, and he gives them another option because they can go direct into him.
I know you're a big fan of Alex Neil. Probably the performance that will go under the radar most, actually, in the Championship this weekend will be Preston North End, because they're doing it without Pearson, they're doing it without Gallagher. These are players that you think you've got to go some to do anything without Pearson and Gallagher. Yeah,
well, Gallagher was on the bench. Pearson was out with a virus, and I think Pearson is one of the best players in the Championship. And for Preston to get that win without him in the team today was a great credit to the rest of the team, and it'll give all the other players a huge boost when you're missing a key player, but you can still produce a result. And they've got some other very good players, Preston. I like the model. What they do is they sign a lot of good young English players and bring them in and develop them.
Yeah, Preston North End, same points as Leeds. Right, last night's game then, Cardiff went to Derby.
Out they come into the arena, led by the decorated Ram. And Holmes again, Marriott in the middle. If Holmes can pull it back to him, it came off the defender into his path. Still might be a chance here. Just about smuggled away by Lee Peltier, then a good save by Smithies, and into the net. Derby County in front, Scott Malone pokes home from close range. Into Waghorn. Derby is saying that might have been a penalty.
These key moments are decisive for us not to get the victory.
Long Cardiff throw, flick on, that's dangerous, that looks like a penalty as well. Well, it looked like a penalty and Darren England thought so too, but this is controversial. He didn't give one to Derby just seconds ago. Chance for Glatzel to get his first goal in English football. And he does! Marriott. Oh, good try. Cannon back off the bar. Hoylett's cross, Patterson, Glatzel, and off the line by a stretching Clark. Oh, Morrison was caught.
They're the ones that are done cheekily, and they should be punished.
Let's see what that's done to the table then. The top two, Swansea and Charlton, both suffered their first defeats of the season. Bristol City up to third after a third consecutive away win. Sixth place West Brom are now the only unbeaten side left in the entire division. Stoke City say bottom after a fourth consecutive loss. The Potters and Huddersfield are the only sides yet to register a win. Middlesbrough climbed 5 places to 13th after their second victory of the season. So that is a wrap for the Championship. We're only halfway done. Coming up, a whole hour dedicated to League One and League Two, and in particular, a new dawn for Bolton Wanderers.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Introducing the new cordless hard floor cleaner from Karcher. Using only fresh water and detergent, get fast, sparkling results every time. Discover the new cordless range from Karcher.
Murray, one small thing. When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Scottish Widows, taking on your future together.
Get up to half-price savings on autumn-winter collection sofas at DFS. For a limited time, there's also early bird savings on the Marquee, now $749. DFS.
This refreshing yellowtail rosé is perfect for a great night in. Just make sure there's enough to go round. Cut to the taste.
Rice, crispy squares, yummy, chewy, gooey, yeah. Marshmallows, squares, gooey, chewy, yummy, yeah. Tell yourself to square yourself.
In the business of chip.
Oh, shall we order a takeaway?
Did somebody say just eat? Ooh. Did somebody say just eat? Did somebody say just eat? Yeah, yeah. Did somebody say just eat?
I'm actually not that hungry. Just kidding.
Did somebody say just eat?
I pledge to leave a gift in my will
to Cancer Research UK.
Because I want to beat cancer for my grandchildren.
My kids, your kids, for the people I love.
Our work is about saving lives. So we'll use every ounce of all that we have to try and beat cancer sooner.
To create an unstoppable force.
I pledge to keep fighting.
To keep researching.
To keep progressing. To never give in. Cancer won't win. We will beat cancer.
That is my pledge.
Make a pledge right now to leave a gift in your will to Cancer Research UK. Together we will beat cancer for future generations. At Lloyds Bank, our #1 priority is keeping your money safe. That's why we will never call and ask you to move your money into another account. Together, we can keep your money safe. Lloyds Bank, by your side.
If your mouth is made to amaze, let Philips Sonicare give it a raise. If your mouth is used to a manual clean, give it 62,000 movements that reach in between. Next level clean, next level care. There's always a way to make life better. Philips Sonicare.
This is next level.
Tom Kerridge travels across America looking for the heart of its food.
It's so exciting. This is my ode to soul food.
Brand new and exclusive, Tom Kerridge's American Feast. Starts Thursday at 9 on Food Network.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back, Leagues 1 and 2 now. And Phil Parkinson and I have been joined by former Southend Stevenage and never forget Welling winger Adrian Clarke is here. Let's get straight to it. And only one place to start, Bolton at Rotherham, where they began a new era in need of a huge turnaround. The biggest story behind Rotherham this week wasn't on the pitch, but more to the side of it. Boss Paul Warne has decided to switch the home and away dugouts around in a bid to change the Millers' fortunes. And of course, well, since we last featured Bolton Wonders, they've signed 9 new players on deadline day and welcomed a new manager in Keith Hill. Today their starting lineup featured 6 debutants and Tom Skippings was there.
A wonderful atmosphere in the South Yorkshire sunshine. 2,500 Bolton fans here, been making themselves heard since before kick-off. Verlinden combining with Crawford. Verlinden into the box and Tibor Verlinden scores Bolton's first league goal of the season. Less than 4 minutes played on his debut. The visitors lead 1-0. Here's Morris. Olasunde. Ben Wiles is beckoning for the ball ahead of him. Wiles has done well there. Got away from Bright. There's no tackle. And Ben Wiles has made it 1-1. It was too easy, really. It's his second league goal of the season. Clipped the ball over Jake Wright's head. No challenge from Weir. And Wiles slotted it home for the equaliser. Hasty with the free kick. It's headed up in the air, but it's not away. Ladapo onto the crossbar. And then acrobatically hooked away by Jack Hobbs. But Bolton are living on their nerves at the back now. Ladapo so close. Here's Crooks. Ladapo. Rise the challenge of Bridcut. Looks for the option. Here's Morris. Ladapo into the penalty area. Gets a bit of luck and fires it into the roof of the net. And Rotherham's record signing has his first goal at the New York Stadium. Freddie Ladapo puts the Millers in front. Crooks, that is wayward. Verlinden with a real chance for Bolton. Verlinden with the shot. It's superbly saved by Everson with his feet. Matic will take the throw. Hikwe flicks it on for Morris, who's beaten Matthews at the near post with a header. And Rotherham lead 3-1. So simple, flicked on by Hikwe. Morris with the header for his first goal for the club. Bolton haven't won a league game at Rotherham since August 1966, and that now looks unlikely to change today. Rotherham looking for more goals early in this second half. Olasunde finding more space. Lindsay with the first-time cross. Ladapo! Matthews can't keep it out. It's 2 for Ladapo, it's 4 for Rotherham, and they are now in complete control. Matter finding plenty of space again, delivers the cross. Wright attempts to clear, only finds Morris, and it's deflected past Matthews. And for the 4th league game running, Bolton Wanderers have conceded 5. Wright got it all wrong, and Morris has his 2nd of the afternoon. Rotherham heading for a first home win of the season. Olasunde. Wiles, first time cross. Hobbs cuts it out. It's hit the post, and then it is cleared, but only as far as Hastie. And Jake Hastie can't miss. And Rotherham have a 6th. So unfortunate for Jack Hobbs. His attempt to clear it only found Hastie, who has his 2nd goal in as many games. The size of the task facing Keith Hill and this new set of Bolton players is all too clear. Rotherham are looking for more. Mattock. Ladapo in acres of space, turns and shoots, but can't hit the target. No hat-trick for Ladapo. Rotherham may have to settle for 6.
We have to accept the result, we have to move on very quickly, and that's what we're willing to do in a positive manner. A lot of positives today to take from the game. You know, you would look at the game, you look at the result, you look at the scoreboard. A lot of negatives, no, I see a lot of positives where we can start building now this football club, this football team. That is what we are there now to do, build a football team on a solid structure.
There's always things you want to improve on, obviously, but to score 6 goals at home is impressive, and it wasn't, no disrespect, we weren't playing against a Bolton youth team or anything like that. There were proper players out there today, and thought we handled the situation really well, and under a little bit of pressure I think we were. To play the way we did and to score the goals we did, I'm really pleased.
I'm sure as an experienced manager such as yourself, Keith, you've seen a lot in football, but surely coming off after a 6-1 defeat, you don't expect to get a standing ovation.
Magnificent, and we'll need those supporters. The players will need those supporters, and the supporters will need those players to give what they've given today. They give everything, and there's no embarrassment with respect to the scoreline. Yes, we want to reward those supporters with a better result, and as time progresses and the players' ability starts improving and the mentality and the fitness, we will start to reward those supporters. But those supporters, they stayed till the end, and we had to embrace those supporters at the end of the game.
Well, let's start with Rotherham in need of a big home win, and give them a bit of credit for what they did today.
Yeah, they were hungry for that first victory at home, weren't they? And I just feel it was the perfect fixture, really, for Rotherham. When I think about their key strengths, they're super fit, they're powerful. We saw with the goals there, didn't we, for a lot of aerial goals, headers inside the box. And they're up against a Bolton side that have been thrown together, lacking cohesion and match fitness as well. So it was a good fixture for Rotherham and a really difficult one for a brand new Bolton team.
And on the Bolton, it's great to have Phil here, and you chose the Bolton Mind charity badge tonight quite naturally. Yeah, I can't help but ask you, you don't mind. You stayed throughout a lot of the bad times and you know, kept the club going along with those youth players. Was there not a part of you wanted to stay for the better time?
Yeah, I just felt the time was right for me to go, and seen the club through a very difficult period. But not just for myself as well. I felt it was fair for the new people coming in to be able to have a fresh start. They've appointed a terrific manager in Keith Hill, signed 9 players. Unfortunately, not all of them could play today because there was a couple of late injuries. So yeah, to answer your question, I just felt the timing was right for both myself and for the people taking over the football club. When
the histories of clubs are written and the Wikipedia pages are added to, of course, UEFA Cup runs and success will be remembered. But talk to me about your boys, and by that I mean those youth players and yourself that kept the club going, kept getting teams out onto that pitch.
Yeah, it's very important. You know, go back to the first game of the season, Wycombe away, where we had to play all the youngsters, the Coventry game at home where it was the youngest ever Bolton team, and that was a day I'll never forget because the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. The young players, a lot of them have gone back into the under-18s and under-23s, and they take a great experience with them, and that'll help them going forward in their careers, and obviously a couple of them were still involved today.
OK. We've been doing a bit of maths, haven't we? And you've got an A level, which is, for this show, is mind-blowing. What would Bolton need to do to pull off a great escape?
1.5 points a game. It's basically playoff form between now and the end of the season. What's playing to their advantage is there are a number of teams towards the bottom of League One that are really struggling. So they've got those teams in sight, they still need to put together an unbelievable run.
Phil, do you set many targets? Because like we've just said there, just get closer. Just get momentum, that word that we don't talk about enough.
Yeah, I mean, personally, while I was there, we were talking about getting to January and halving the deficit. It's 12 points. By January, could that be 6? And to give us that kind of target up to January. It's possible with the players they've brought in. Daryl Murphy, I feel, is key. Unfortunately, he's got a slight injury at the moment. Goal scorer who scored goals at a higher level. If they can get him fit and playing games week in, week out, it gives him a chance. OK, we'll have it all here on Quest. Now, after no wins, no draws and 6 defeats, it was more like 006 for Bond at Southend, and that was enough to cost Kevin his job. And that's where we pick things up in League One.
Gary Waddock is now in charge of Southend, who parted company with Kevin Bond during the international break. And he was soon celebrating a first goal. After Stephen Humphreys was brought down on the edge of the box, Stephen McLaughlin smashed in a perfect free kick. And if that isn't worth a flamboyant celebration, well, what is? Southend's situation, though, is no laughing matter. Jimmy Dunn's equaliser for Fleetwood gave the Shrimpers a familiar sinking feeling. Suddenly, Mark Oxley was the busier goalkeeper. First preventing an own goal from Elvis Brumono, and then tipping away Carl Dempsey's effort. Coming into this one, Southend are the EFL's only side with a 100% losing record this season, and they couldn't hold the visitors at bay. When Oxley spilled Danny Andrews' shot, Josh Morris put Fleetwood ahead. So plenty for Waddock to work on at Roots Hall. Free kicks, though, Southend are pretty good at. Humphreys levelled the game at 2-2 shortly after half-time. This was a much better watch for Southend fans, although not all the goals were going their way. When Dempsey nodded Fleetwood ahead, Blues were in danger of becoming the first third-tier side in 25 years to lose their first 7 matches. Southend needed a hero, and with 3 minutes left in the 90, up stepped Humphreys, the man in the mask. When his shot deceived Matt Gilks, there was no disguising the delight at Southend's first point of the season.
It's just as well Wally Downs loves a challenge. Wimbledon's worst start to a league season is no respite after last season's great escape, and Shrewsbury's Ollie Norburn was keen to add to his problems early on. But after half an hour, Wimbledon had the lead. Joe Pigott tried to claim it, his first goal in 6 weeks, but Ethan Ebanks-Landell was awarded the last touch for own goal. No matter who scored, Downs' Dons were on the up, and it should have been 2-0 as Nestor Guinness-Walker broke clear. His final pass looked the perfect assist for a debut goal for Marcus Force. The striker's claims for a penalty also fell on deaf ears. Still the Dons flowed forward. Another corner, another defensive panic as Will Nightingale's header was cleared off the line by Donald Love. The power of Love was the inspiration for Shrewsbury's second-half response. That let-off kept them in the game and allowed new signing Jason Cummins to deliver an immediate return on his debut as a second-half substitute, plus an awkward forward role in celebration. Shrewsbury, with just 1 win in 7 games, sensed this could be their day. And the home defence lived dangerously while they failed to clear, and the visitors pressed with intent, until Cummins underlined his new confidence with a bid for the spectacular. Town boss Sam Ricketts will have spent the journey home wondering how his team didn't finish as winners. Josh Laurent tried to oblige, but there looked to be better options than his bold bid for glory. Not that Downs will complain, but the wait for a first win continues.
With Morgan Ferrier and Ishmael Miller out injured, on loan Aston Villa forward Russian Hepburn Murphy was given his first Tranmere start. This effort saved by Simon East would prove to be a significant moment in this game. After Oxford cleared the danger, they went straight to the other end to win a penalty. Tariq Fossu's burst of pace drawing a foul from Liam Reidholz. Tranmere couldn't believe it when, after much deliberation, the referee pointed to the spot. Now for some playground antics. Fossu wanted to take it himself, but James Henry is Oxford United's designated penalty taker. If that incident added pressure on him, he didn't show it, converting their first league spot kick since early December. Oxford haven't won in League One since the second weekend of the season, while Tranmere's only win came against beleaguered Bolton. Some good football led to the home side second. Fosu combined with Ben Woodburn to tee up Woodburn's former Liverpool youth teammate Cameron Brannigan. A hefty deflection for the midfielder's 5th goal already this season. No wonder Carl Robinson is so keen to tie him to a new contract. Having waited so long for their penalty, Oxford won another late on. Substitute Shandon Baptiste, this time going down under Darren Potter's challenge. Henry scored his only career hat-trick against Tranmere 10 years ago. Only the 2 goals for him this time, but a much-needed win for Oxford.
Really good day for Oxford United. I love the penalty incident, and there's been so much scuffling about penalties of late, it seems, in football. But we've got a manager, a player and a former McDonald's crew member here. So let's all have an opinion on this. He's ran 50 yards, guys. Yeah. The young lad's given it all. But should Fosu take the penalty or the designated penalty taker, Henry? Manager's
designated
opinion.
penalty taker all day.
Right, OK. Adrian?
Yeah. Well, this has happened to me. I've had the ball wrestled off of me and I had to grab it back. It's really embarrassing. And what made this worse for me was that it came at a really big moment for Oxford. One point in their last 5 games, this was a huge moment in their season. And to have a little squabble, I thought was a bit unprofessional, a bit selfish of Fosu, but well done, Henry, for standing his ground.
Hi, Colin, McDonald's crew member here. I think it's still... I'd rather have 2 players fight. Nobody wants to take the penalty than people turn away not wanting to take a penalty. So there's a little bit of positivity, I think, to it, that they're all bleeding for the cause.
Sort of, yeah, but he's the designated taker for a reason. He's the best man for the job.
First point for Southend United. That's why you're wearing their badge tonight.
That's why it's there, yeah, celebrating the first point. Absolutely delighted. It was a good response, actually, under the caretaker, Gary Waddock. He simplified things, put the 2 best strikers up top. Humphreys here, absolute hero, scoring from the free kick, and then on the back of that run later on, you can see what it means to him and to the fans at Southend United. They've been under massive pressure, but it's a step in the right direction. That's a good point. Yeah. The disappointment is that they've scored 3 goals twice now and not taken a victory, just the 1 point.
Adam Barrett's favourite for the job, someone called Phil Parkinson's second favourite.
I think it's a great job for Adam Barrett, first of all, ex-player. First step on the managerial ladder, you know, if you want to appoint him. Personally, for me, it's not for me. But I thought Gary Waddock did well today. I thought he got a reaction from the players, and you could see that. We watched a lot of the game, didn't we? And they had a real go today because Fleetwood are a good side, and it is an excellent point, albeit scoring 3 goals. You'd want to take all 3.
Well, listen, on that subject of managers, the Cowley brothers gone from Lincoln then. They face Bristol Rovers this afternoon. But first, we're going to head to the WAM Stadium.
Over 2,000 made the journey down from the northeast, although they might have been regretting that decision after 5 minutes when Jordan Clark collected his 2nd of the season. No need to panic though, as it turned out, because Stanley hadn't kept a clean sheet for 26 matches, and they still haven't. And to make it worse, the lead only lasted 90 seconds, thanks to Lyndon Gooch's acrobatics. John Coleman's side had been unbeaten in their last 3, but wins have been thin on the ground this season, and their chances of collecting one here looked even slimmer when the impressive Aidan McGeady was allowed too much time and space. He just loves scoring against Accrington. The home side were looking for a response, and they so nearly found one when Colby Bishop's deflected effort bounced off the crossbar rather than into the net. A lack of fortune was followed by a lapse in concentration, which gave the visitors the chance to strike decisively. Plenty of credit goes to Chris Maguire with the fancy footwork, which allowed Mark McNulty the chance to score against Stanley for the 2nd time this season. Jack Ross's men almost added a 4th when Luke O'Lyon's deflected header so nearly found the target, but 3 more than good enough to keep Sunderland upwardly mobile. Stanley are heading in the other direction.
Members of the Goalkeepers Union look away now. Robert Sanchez with a nightmare after. Of all the sides to give a head start to, don't do it to Posh. They're scoring goals at a remarkable rate. Mo Issa got his 5th in as many matches as Darren Ferguson's team flew into a 2-0 lead. Issa and Tony are dynamite together up front, especially with Marcus Maddison pulling the strings behind them. It was to be a really bad day for the Dale goalkeeper. A poor touch here was his first mistake. Giving the ball to Maddison was his 2nd.
class like that is why Maddison is currently holding the League One Player of the Month award. You'd think that Tony must have been in with a shout of that honour as well. He now has 7 goals in 7 appearances. This one confirmed his hat-trick and a humiliating defeat for Dale. They'd only lost 1 league game before this. Here, though, one piece of chaotic defending followed another. Maddison eventually brought down for a 62nd minute penalty. And by the way, this was a 5th clean sheet in a row too. Beaten last week by a stoppage time goal at Coventry, Blackpool were behind again after just 5 minutes. Russell Martin, quickest to react for MK Dons for his first goal of the season. In conditions more suited to Blackpool Beach, the home side took time to get in the swim of things, but top scorer Armand Nanduye suggested brighter times were just around the corner. After all, Simon Grayson's sides were unbeaten at home. But one second-half moment of madness tilted the game. Curtis Tilt looked to have the ball under control until he didn't. Jordan Houghton left him chasing shadows and goalkeeper Jack Annick on his backside. Blackpool's 4-game run without a win loomed larger as the game wore on. Chances were coming and going. Liam Feeney's cross found Ben Hennigan, but his header didn't find the target. In contrast, the Dons were finishing strongly. And when Conor McGrandles found George Williams unmarked, David Kasumu, also unmarked, knew where to move to and scored his first goal for the club. The Dons' first away win of the season was a notable seaside souvenir. It could have been more emphatic as the one-time leaders were turned again when Sam Nombe was sent clear. Little wonder Simon Grayson was angry afterwards, accusing his players of being a soft touch and threatening wholesale changes for Tuesday's game at Doncaster.
Life after the Cowley brothers started here for Lincoln. They had a penalty claim in just the 2nd minute. Michael Bostwick's deflected shot, Johnson Clark-Harris adjudged not to handle. The Imps, under the interim management of Jamie McComb and Andy Warrington, their fans were hoping for a 4th straight home maximum. Ansi Jakala denied Jack Payne what would have been a beauty. Bristol Rovers had scored 8 goals in triumphing on their previous 2 visits to Sincil Bank. Ed Upson presented Tom Nichols with a great chance, only for Josh Vickers to produce a fine stop. Graham Coughlan's Pirates were chasing a first away victory of the campaign. Nichols went down under a challenge from Neil Eardley just before the midway point of the second 45. With his prolific scoring record this term, Clark-Harris was always unlikely to miss from the spot. Rovers kept their foot on the gas. Sub Tyler Smith might have made the scoreline more comfortable, but one was enough. Managerless Lincoln's first home league defeat of the season.
16 goals and 20 starts for Clark-Harris. If Ollie was here, he'd fill the whole 2 minutes about that. But a big job available at Lincoln City. And Adrian, it's not just a manager's seat, it's a culture, it's a huge increase in season tickets since the Cowley brothers went there. It's a whole new kettle of fish.
Yeah, big boots to fill, aren't they? And the city of Lincoln fell in love with the Cowley brothers, and that places an extra responsibility, I think, on the person that does take charge. What I will say is that the 2 most credible contenders that we think are in the frame for this, Ainsworth and Flynn, I think they're both strong enough characters, intense as well in the way that they prepare their teams. I think they'd both be good fits.
Who'd be your choice out of those 2? Mike Flynn's an odds-on favourite. Gareth Ainsworth not far behind, of course, beat Lincoln last week.
Yeah, both done terrific jobs. No Michael Flynn from time at Bradford. I just think with Gareth's connection with Lincoln, being a player there, you know, that kind of would just edge it for me. But there is a big job or another job going to be, you know, coming Michael Flynn's way sooner rather than later.
Yeah, OK. MK Dons then really good. And again, academy players we're talking about, like last week.
Yeah, well, they've got a long tradition of bringing through the kids. Obviously, Dele Alli is the most famous graduate. Last weekend, it was Nombe that caught the eye against Wimbledon. This time, it was David Cassam who scored a goal. Very impressive by all accounts. So, yeah, they're going places, MK Dons.
Yeah, creeping into the top half now. However, Peterborough, we started doing our Mind charity badges because you can get them for every single team and the colours change. And a couple of weeks ago, we started doing our Team of the Week for a bit of fun. I'd wear the badge. It was Peterborough in week 1. It was nearly Peterborough last week. It has to be Peterborough this week. I'm wearing it again. 6-0 against a team. They don't concede these amount of goals.
This wasn't supposed to happen. Rochdale are one of the most solid teams in the division coming into this game. 2 goals conceded in their last 5 outings. So we shouldn't have expected it. What happened was the front 3, Tony, Isa and Maddison, they frightened the living daylights out of them. And as you can see from the highlights there was some calamitous defending.
Phil, talk to me about sort of Darren Ferguson blueprint, if you will, pardon the pun, when he's at Posh.
Yeah, well, he's played that diamond before and had goal scorers, Mikel Smith, Aaron McLean, George Boyd in behind them, and he's got a similar setup now. And all three of the front players look like they're going to score every week. They've contributed nearly all the goals, and they look a very dangerous team on the day. I'm sure there'll be games where they might come away and get beat 2 or 3-0, but equally I think they're going to have more good days than bad. Yeah,
they soaked up pressure today as well. Only had 36% of possession. I think the two centre-backs had a difficult start, didn't they? Beavers and Kent, both good players. But it's a new combination. I think centre-halves sometimes need a little bit of time to settle. It feels like they have now, I think, 4 clean sheets in a row.
Well, he had to make your team of the week. Exactly. They're 15-0 up. 15 goals scored without reply at the moment, right? It's the top dogs, though, after the break, including a tough trip to Gillingham for table toppers Wycombe.
Did you bring the bibs? Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Most important part of your teeth is the enamel, the white, hard, shining armour of protection all around your teeth. When that wears away, the underlayer, which is slightly yellower, starts to show through, and that becomes a little bit darker. I recommend Pro Enamel because it strengthens the enamel you have and it helps to protect the enamel.
Blackcurrants are my paint, and the field is my canvas. Just look at the fruits of my labour, juiced into every bottle of Ribena. Call this one Sphere of Purple Rhapsody.
Andrew.
Hello.
Let's get these berries off to the presser, shall we?
Sorry, Janet. I got carried away again there.
Scottish Widows, taking on your future together.
Kellogg's Crunchy Nut. Deliciously nutty flakes, drizzled in honey. Have you tried our Scrumptious Clusters range? There's chocolate, honey nut, and peanut butter. The trouble is, they all taste too good.
In the business of chip.
Oh. Shall we order a takeaway?
Did somebody say just eat? Ooh. Did somebody say just eat? Did somebody say just eat? Hey, yeah. Did somebody say just eat?
I'm actually not that hungry. Just kidding.
Did somebody say just eat?
Masculine fragrance by Dolce & Gabbana.
Get up to half-price savings on autumn-winter collection sofas at DFS. For a limited time, there's also early bird savings on the Auburn, now $479. DFS.
Is there anything in the world smoother than this Yellowtail Shiraz? Or anything richer? I'm not sure there is. Cut to the taste. Yellowtail.
At Lloyds Bank, our #1 priority is keeping your money safe. That's why we will never call and ask you to move your money into another account. Together, we can keep your money safe. Lloyds Bank, by your side.
I pledge to leave a gift in my will
to Cancer Research UK.
Because I want to beat cancer for my grandchildren.
My kids, your kids.
For the people I love.
Our work is about saving lives. So we'll use every ounce of all that we have to try and beat cancer sooner.
To create an unstoppable force.
I pledge to keep fighting.
To keep researching.
To keep progressing. To never give in. Cancer won't win. We will beat cancer.
That is my
pledge.
Make a pledge right now to leave a gift in your will to Cancer Research UK. Together we will beat cancer for future generations.
HelloFresh. Delicious meals delivered to your door. Cooking made easy. Order your box today. HelloFresh. Dinner is solved.
Alexa, what's the time?
It's 6 a.m.
Alexa, what's the weather like right now?
Currently, it's light rain.
This is next level.
Tom Kerridge travels across America looking for the heart of its food.
It's so exciting. This is my ode to soul food.
Brand new and exclusive, Tom Kerridge's American Feast. Starts Thursday at 9 on Food Network.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Welcome back. Our final visit to League One sees us take a look at the top three, and first we're off to Portman Road.
The last time Ipswich started a season as well as this, they were winning promotion to the Premier League and Doncaster were playing in non-league. But this was by no means a David versus Goliath encounter. In fact, Donny had some great chances to win it. Niall Ennis tormented the Tractor Boys, and after drawing a save from Thomas Holy, he then created a golden chance for John Taylor, whose touch eluded him at the crucial moments before Holy kept them out again. In fact, this is Doncaster's best start to a league season in 25 years too. They did have more work to do in the second half though. James Norwood looked to score his 6th goal in 5 games. Don't laugh at what happens next. If Doncaster win their games in hand, they'll be top of the table. And manager Darren Moore felt his side should have had 3 points from this one. Although Norwood had a great chance to win it again for Ipswich. Ian Lawler, though, again making the save. A draw maintains both sides' unbeaten starts.
Coventry went for a Burton home and away last season, so Mark Robins was prepared to dig in as much as dig out a victory if possible. In a game of few clear-cut chances, the visitors were first to show, but from such a distance, Liam Walsh would have needed some Ronaldo dip and bend to beat Kieran O'Hara. The leaders enjoyed their best opening of the first half when Zane Westbrook let fly, only for O'Hara to be saved by the post, and the bounce of the ball defeated Jordi Hiwula and his best efforts to force in the rebound. Burton were playing within themselves, but their threat became very real as Oliver Sarkic crossed and Lucas Akins couldn't land the touch that would surely have beaten Marco Morosi from close range. That was as good as Albion got in the first half. And the quality didn't really pick up after the break. Akins was again the main Burton threat after Liam Boyce sent him free, but Morosi was alert to the danger. Coventry picked up the pace as the game entered the final stages, and Robins must have thought his luck was in when Matt Godden cleverly engineered himself a shooting chance, only to finish in keeping with the game. Burton could have snatched it late on when Nathan Broadhead rattled the frame of the goal. Coventry stay top. Nigel Clough's Burton are unbeaten in 6.
I thought it was a brilliant game. I was chatting with Mark Robins yesterday, and he said, I think it's going to be a great game, and we thought that as well. You've got probably two as good a footballing sides as there are in League One at the moment, both trying to play it around. And it was only the woodwork, I think, that kept it scoreless today.
These are heady days indeed for league leaders Wycombe, who brought their unbeaten record to Kent, and Alex Samuel had their first chance of the contest. Only Ipswich had been more prolific in front of goal in League One this season, but that magical touch was just missing as Adebayo Akinfenwa had a swing and a miss. Gillingham were looking for a confidence boost after just one win in their last 8, and they almost got it when Max Amer was denied by Ryan Alsop. But the home side would make the first breakthrough on 59 minutes thanks to the Herculean efforts of substitute Brandon Hanlon, who refused to surrender possession and then had the vision to tee up Mikael Njoli, who doubled his tally for the campaign. Steve Evans' side had lost 9 points from winning positions this season, but there would be no slip-ups this time as Ollie Lee drew the foul and with it the attention of referee James Adcock. That gave Njoli the chance to make certain the points were staying home, and he made no mistake as Wycombe tasted league defeat for the first time since last season.
We'll get to those goals with Adrian in just a second. 2-0 the Burton Coventry one in particular. A really good game of football, as the managers were saying. But Coventry have now won all 4 at home and 4 draws away. Is that now a thing, psychologically?
Well, possibly, but if you keep that ratio going, you're going to get promotion.
You're invincible.
Yeah, and the next 2 games are at home as well. Yeah. So, you know, be focusing on keeping that going. Of course, as the season goes on, you've got to get those wins away from home. But at the moment, the points ratio is good and they deserve to be up there. Doing so well, considering they don't have a home either, so it makes it doubly as impressive. Gillingham, they held on to a lead. Sing hosannas.
They have been truly terrible front runners this season, Gillingham. 6 times out of 7 games, they've scored the first goal. This was only the second time they've converted it into a 3-point haul. So well done to them against a really strong Wycombe side. And it was inspired, wasn't it, by the on-loan youngster from Bournemouth, and Njoli.
Yeah, good show for him, indeed. He's always something going on. Scored a penalty and was sent off in the Carabao Cup. Yeah. All in the dying minutes of that. And, yeah, there you go.
Well, he's been given the responsibility by Steve Evans. He's the kind of manager that will keep his feet on the ground, no doubt about that. He's raw, but clearly hungry to impress. And I just get the feeling with Gillingham that we might see them go on a run now, because they were a new team thrown together. A lot of loan players came in during the summer. I'm seeing signs of progress.
OK, so have a look at the table. None of the top 7 going into the weekend won today. Unbeaten Coventry are the new leaders, with Ipswich up to 2nd despite both drawing. Free scoring Peterborough scored those 6 and go to 6th, and now have won 4 on the bout. Bolton then did score their first goal of the season, but do stay bottom after slipping to a 4 straight loss. Southend picked up their first point, but stayed 22nd. The bottom 3 are all still waiting then for their first victory. League 2 now then. Exeter City and Newport County started the afternoon still unbeaten in the league. Let's see if they could both keep it that way.
After 4 wins by a single goal in August, Exeter were looking to hold on to top spot in slightly more emphatic fashion, but they only had Piers Sweeney's slightly mishit strike to show for an initially dominant display in the Devon sunshine. Boss Matt Taylor had admitted that his Manager of the Month award owed a lot to fine margins, but it was the visitors who had the rub of the green just before half-time. Dale Gorman's miscue turning into a perfect assist for Lee Angol. And just after the interval, it seemed that the Grecians' good fortune was really starting to run out. The penalty for allowing Lewis Dennis far too much space was severe, thanks to Aaron Martin's decisive deflection. After that, Orient's pursuit of a 3rd league win of the season had some chancy moments until we were well into 7 minutes of added time, when Exeter substitute Ben Seymour lured Josh Coulson into a clumsy lunge and referee Peter Wright threw the home side a lifeline. Nicky Law grabbed it, and Exeter are still top and still riding their luck a little.
The EFL's meanest defence coming into this one. There haven't been many mistakes at the back for Newport. At Northampton, though, there was a heroic failure for Mark O'Brien. Andy Williams' shot, both ball and player, ended up in the back of the net. At the other end, Joss Laverty was having no such luck. He headed over the Exiles' best chance of the first half. O'Brien, though, was still looking lethal in the box. In the second half, he was inches away from turning a Nicky Adams cross into another own goal. On a run of 17 league games without defeat, this openness at the back is not like Newport at all. When Sam Hoskins got the Cobblers second, the Exiles were on their way to a first league defeat since March. Remarkably, it was Northampton that beat them that day too. So will this be the start of another club record run for Newport? They'll have to start it without Jamil Matt. His expulsion was the last act on a disastrous day for Mike Flynn's men.
Cambridge hadn't scored in their last 3 matches, but it took Sam Smith just 12 minutes to end that drought. That was all a bit of a shock to a Crewe side who'd been enjoying their best start to a season in 24 years, and things didn't get much better when they were down to 10 men just before half-time. Paul Green paying the price for that challenge on Samir Carruthers. But without him, the home side managed to prosper as the game exploded with a 4-goal burst in 9 minutes. Eddie Nolan with the equaliser, which had a hint of good fortune. But there was bags of quality about the goal that put the home side in front. A slick passing move opened up the visitors' defence, and there was Chuma Anene, just on as a sub, with a super finish. A 6th win in 7, very much on the cards then for the home side, but the U's had other ideas, and just 2 minutes later they were back on level terms. Paul Lewis with time and space to punish David Artel's men. Game on and then game over 3 minutes later. Luke Hannant the man to win the penalty after the referee felt he'd been brought down. Crewe didn't like it, but goalkeeper Will Jääskeläinen couldn't keep Smith out as Cambridge went on to enjoy a valuable win.
Walsall's opening day win at Northampton is starting to feel like a long time ago. No success for the Saddlers since, but the visit of another team relegated last season offered hope. Keelan Lavery drew something special from Bantam's keeper Richard O'Donnell, once a Walsall man. Bradford might have led by then, but James Vaughan had a goal disallowed for a foul, and the striker remained a key figure. Dylan Connolly's cross not met cleanly enough to beat Liam Roberts. Vaughan's next meaningful contact was with Walsall defender Dan Scarr, and Bradford had a penalty with just over 10 minutes remaining. Perhaps Vaughan struck the penalty too sweetly. Then again, maybe he didn't. But after 8 games without a win in all competitions, Walsall couldn't capitalise on that stroke of luck. Instead, a long throw produced a string of poor defensive headers, with Liam Kinsella's into his own net easily the worst. Vaughan was ready to claim the credit, but that's what strikers always do, don't they?
Well, Walsall are 7 without a win, 3 goals in the league only so far this season. But Darrell Clark's here on Wednesday, so we're just going to say, well done, Bradford, move on from that because we don't want them to cancel. It's as simple as that, I'll be honest. Cambridge United's winner, iffy. Listen, referees make mistakes, but this one, Phil, if you would have got sent off as a manager, wouldn't you?
Well, it's a really poor decision, and the ref gets a good view of it as well. And
he's looking right at it.
I can't see how he hasn't got that right. I really can't. The lad wins the ball cleanly, and you know, Crewe have been on a good run. It's a terrible way for them to not get a point from the game.
It's a diabolical decision and a really costly one for Crewe. They played ever so well with 10 men. Obviously, lost a player to a dismissal in the first half. Yeah, that's awful luck on their part.
Keith Curle at Northampton, beaten 2 really good teams at Old Mammoney.
Yeah, impressive. Yeah, he's changed the style of the team as well. Very direct before, Keith Curle, but he's bowed to the fans' wishes and played a more entertaining brand of football. And look, they swept aside Plymouth in their last home game, and they swatted aside Newport today with relative ease. Newport hadn't conceded a goal since the first day of the season. So that is, I know that you've made Peterborough your team of the week. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Northampton have run them close.
It's no going back. It's no going back in a badge. Quickly on Exeter, they stay unbeaten. You had Matt Taylor, I think, didn't you? Yeah, you would have at Bradford, yeah?
Yeah, he was a player.
Was he a manager?
Well, he's a very conscientious professional, very intelligent guy, and he's done great there. You look last year where they sold Stockley and that derailed them a little bit this season, and they've got off to a great start this year, and a tough job to take over from Tisdale. He's done so well at Exeter, and he's doing really well.
Definitely his team now. Right, the rest of League 2 coming up, and a chance to see if Paul Hurst's Scunthorpe could get their first win. Don't go anywhere, or at least hit the big record button.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
1 out of 2 women say sex can be painful. The #1 cause? Dryness. So Vagisil Pro Hydrate relieves dryness for more comfortable sex.
Black currants are my paint, and the field is my canvas. Just look at the fruits of my labour, juiced into every bottle of Ribena. Call this one Sphere of Purple Rhapsody.
Andrew.
Hello.
Let's get these berries off to the presser, shall we?
Sorry, Janet. I got carried away again there.
At Halifax, we know that nothing beats that new home feeling.
Get down, get down, get down, get down.
That new home feeling. Halifax makes it happen.
Well, I
Kitchen, get some bickers on.
Cookie-making robot arms will never happen. But with the new BP Me Rewards card, getting little rewards more often will.
Ah, Norway, land of the midnight sun, the splendour of the fjords, the majesty of the glaciers. But first, some ice in my vodka martini.
Yes, very good.
7-night holidays on our new ship Iona from $699 per person. P&O Cruises.
This is the life.
Scottish Widows, taking on your future together.
Right, lads and ladies, let's have man to man, man to woman, woman to man, or woman to woman marking. Carl, Suntra, you're our fox, and Vixen in the box. Brian, you keep your striker in your pocket, but only metaphorically.
Man on! Woman on! Person on! Person on!
It's easy to mess things up these days. That's why we do money back specials, so not all mistakes cost you as much. This weekend it's money back as a free bet if Aubameyang scores against Watford. Paddy Power, home of the money back special.
Never gonna get that back. Take time. Okay.
You'd have to throw that one back, Mr. Thompson.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Make working lunches more rewarding. I got this. With offers from restaurants you love. With the powerful backing of American Express. Don't do business without it.
Introducing the new cordless hard floor cleaner from Karcher. Using only fresh water and detergent, get fast, sparkling results every time. Discover the new cordless range from Karcher.
Smash it to bits, mate. Have a bit of fun while you're doing it.
Fire.
Welcome to a Right Royal Smash Up. Brand new Scrap Kings continues Tuesday at 9, only on Quest.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
More action now as part of our longer than ever 2-hour format. 4 more games starting at the new lawn for Forest Green Rovers against Colchester United.
There were tributes before this game for a Forest Green Rovers supporter who passed away after suffering a cardiac arrest at Cambridge last weekend. On the pitch, Rovers were looking to build on their steady start to the season. Dean Gerken showed why he spent most of his career at Championship level to keep out Matty Stevens and Kyle Taylor. But the goalkeeper could do little to prevent the opener. Colchester captain Luke Prosser's eagerness to cut out James Morton's cross resulted in an own goal. All 4 of Forest Green's league wins so far this season have been 1-0, and if that goal wasn't worthy of winning the game, Carl Winchester's run was. Don't pass, shoot. He went for the unselfish option, and Taylor wasted the opportunity. With Colchester unbeaten in 6, that miss meant a nervous finish. But when some good build-up play presented Courtney Senior with a chance, the end product didn't match. And with that, another 1-0 eked out.
These Red Robins have been bobbing along very nicely, and Macclesfield would be sobbing 37 minutes in. Owen Doyle unable to round off a fine move, but Keshi Anderson netted the rebound. Richie Wellens' free-scoring outfit hunting a 3rd win on the spin. Bradford Loney Doyle has been in terrific form, and before the interval he continued his start of the season goal-a-game average. Having plumbed the depths of the division for so much of the last campaign, this one has been much better generally for Macclesfield, but Mac attacks were rare as they wilted in the Wiltshire sunshine. At least keeper Owen Evans stops Doyle here. The men of Silk couldn't worm their way out of this losing situation. More sumptuous football from high-flying Swindon, and it was Doyle at the double to complete an emphatic display, his team looking a real force with which to be reckoned.
Salford's start in League Two has been solid rather than spectacular, but 5 straight draws has at least proved that the new boys have some durability, even if they lack a little of the expected glamour. And keeper Kyle Leatheran certainly stood his ground to repel Luke Varney's early advances. But Cheltenham's progress has been a little more convincing, and they may have unearthed a new star, a young Welshman called Ryan. Some bite in midfield set the evergreen Varney on his way again, and the veteran teed up Ryan Broom to sweep the Robins in front. The 22-year-old had also cleaned up with a goal against Stevenage last weekend, and Salford struggled to make a mark on the game once they'd lost midfielder Richie Towell to injury. Devante Rodney drew a decent save from Scott Flinders in the second half. But soon after that, Cheltenham were home and dry. The strength and persistence of substitute Alex Adai helped Broom to another brush with glory and a second goal to cap a polished display. And when the dust had settled, the visitors had their first away league win of the season.
Home fans at Boundary Park have had slim pickings this season, just 1 point and 1 goal. But they were given a taste of better things when Christopher Missilou launched himself at a loose ball for the early lead. A Saturday night out in Oldham with a smile looked even more likely for fans in the second half, when Desiree Azankpo seized on sluggish Grimsby defending and teed up Felipe Moraes to make it 2-0 with half an hour remaining. Was this the day Laurent Banide enjoyed his first league win at home? Michael Jolly's Grimsby have become specialists at retrieving seemingly lost causes, and 9 minutes from time, Jordan Cook spared James Hansen's blushes after he miskicked by guarding in his 3rd goal of the season. Then, with home fans anxiously clock watching, Ludwig Omen leapt highest for his first goal in English football. Grimsby had escaped again. Oldham remained trapped in the familiar spiral.
And Grimsby get the title of comeback kings, no doubt about it.
Well, this is what they're all about this season, Grimsby. If games finished at half-time, they'd be in the relegation zone practically. 2 goals scored in the first half of games. They've scored, 14, I think, in the second half of games. They'd be second in the division based on second-half performances alone. They've just got to start better. Yeah,
Cheltenham went away from home at last and Broom the hero there, but we have to carve out time to just show... I want to say Owen Doyle's goal, but it's not. It's the team's goal. It's the definition of a team goal. Phil, this is just stuff. This is just beautiful.
Yeah, I think beautiful. Any level of football, this is top-class football. So many players contribute to the goal, moving the ball quickly. Great touch here. You'll see this in a minute. And then this one is even better for me. And then obviously the third one is, the icing on the cake.
It's pure class. I know the fans down at Swindon are saying this is some of the most sparkling football they've seen in years from their team.
There you go, wonderful stuff. A trip to see Mark Sampson's first game as caretaker manager of Stevenage. But before that, let's see the Argyle at the Vale.
The high expectations that surrounded Plymouth at the start of the campaign have been rather undermined by some patchy away form. But Byron Moore's early sighter at Vale Park suggested this might be a happier trip. Scott Brown stood firm for Vale, who were forced to use all 3 substitutes in the opening 35 minutes. Once they regrouped, Nathan Smith did manage a header on target, kept out by Callum McFadzean. More than 1,000 Argyle fans had made the journey to Staffordshire despite back-to-back defeats on the road. But their heroes struggled to match the pace of Christian Montano, denied by Alex Palmer. And with 15 minutes left, Plymouth's travel sickness struck again. Too slow to react to David Worrell's free kick, and Smith found the net this time. Ryan Lowe's side managed little in response, and only Montano's late wastefulness spared them from a heavier defeat. As they headed home, Plymouth dropped to mid-table, with Port Vale moving in the opposite direction.
Crawley have been going well in League and Carabao Cup. Christian Pearce's foul on Rhys Grego-Cox gave them the chance to break the deadlock from the penalty spot. Top scorer Bas Labala stepped up. but Conrad Logan saved splendidly, fully deserving of his teammates' congratulations. The Stags have been steady rather than stellar so far. Nicky Maynard squared for Danny Rose, but his touch was too heavy. Labala would go from spot kick villain to open play hero to make it 1-0. A big deflection off Matt Preston, giving him his 6th goal in 8 league appearances. Josh Doherty cleared Connor Shaughnessy's effort from underneath the bar as Mansfield's efforts to equalise proved fruitless. 10 points from the last 12 available for the Red Devils.
Stevenage sacked manager Dino Mamria this week. Mark Sampson is the interim appointment. Things were progressing nicely when Curtis Guthrie put the home side ahead. His 2nd goal of the campaign prompting Superman celebrations. Defending, however, is still Borough's kryptonite. Carlisle caught them out with a simple long ball. Harry McCurdy, once of Stevenage, levelled the score. With 3 points from the first 7 games, Stevenage had already recorded their worst ever start to a Football League season, and it was about to get worse. McCurdy assisting for Nathan Thomas to score the 2nd for Carlisle. There were some encouraging signs for Stevenage. They hit back immediately. Guthrie, less Clark Kent than of late, was rediscovering his powers. It might be a case of up and away for him, but Stevenage can't say the same. They're still without a win this season. McCurdy completed a dream return to the Lamex when he grabbed the winning goal.
March the 12th, a club record 16 games ago, the last time Scunthorpe won a league match. But with 17 conceded in their last 5 games, Morecambe were opponents there for the taking. Kevin Von Veen won a penalty, but Barry Roach saved one in stoppage time against Salford last week. He did the same again, but predatory Jamie Proctor quickly redeemed himself. Scunny's own defensive record has been pretty ropey this season. It's the worst in League Two. A sign of the luck perhaps turning came when Alex Gilliard hit the post, but Von Veen was there to emphatically make it 2. Paul Hurst has maintained the form would change when Scunthorpe's injury list eases. They could still only name 6 players on the bench. Not that Hurst really needed reinforcements. When Gilliard was kept out again, Matty Lund managed to bobble in a 3rd. All the goals in the first half. That looked like the end of the scoring until the game ticked into the 90th minute. Rory McCardle fouled Cole Stockton. Substitute Adam Buxton stepped up, but it was a moment to savour for goalkeeper Rory Watson. His save preserved a clean sheet, his first in 22 appearances for Scunthorpe over nearly 3 years.
Big relief for Scunthorpe. The last time has beaten us, but we've got a few seconds left, Phil. You're happy to see that?
Yeah, Paul Hurst, very good manager, and I feel that squad is capable of a top-half finish, even after the start they've had.
Yeah, football's not played in paper, but he's right.
He is right, yeah, and it was a good day for Paul Hurst. He had a big decision to make. Who would partner Proctor up front? He went for Van Veen, and he delivered.
Excellent. 2 good debuts, I thought, tonight. It's always a nervy time, but thank you very much, both of you. Right, we have a table to look at before we go anywhere, and none of the top 3 going into the weekend won. However, Exeter stay top despite their draw. Swindon climb up to 2nd after a 3rd consecutive win. Newport and Crewe drop out of the automatic promotion places after defeats. Scunthorpe's first win of the season and first since March sees the Iron move off the bottom of the table. Stevenage have replaced them and are now the only side yet to win in the division. So we'll be back on Wednesday for a roundup of League One and League Two, and of course next weekend where I'll be joined by Chris Powell and Michael Appleton. And don't forget, you can download our free app Quest OD and watch the show live or on the go whenever you want. That's it for another weekend. I'm going to leave you with our team of the week, Peterborough. So to finish off tonight, well, what can we say? It's some posh 6. Good evening.
Screwfix sponsors EFL highlights on Quest.
Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You wanna know by now how much I love you. One thing you can be sure of, I'll never ask for more than
Quarter pounder with cheese lovers, time is running out. The double quarter pounder with cheese is here for just a couple more weeks. A timeless classic, doubled.
If you need to be summer ready, whatever the season, Philips Lemire leaves you up to 6 months visibly hair-free. So yeah, there's always a reason. If you own the night and seize the day, gentle light pulses will smooth the way. Philips Lemire Prestige, visibly hair-free skin, long-lasting results. There's always a way to make life better. Philips.
Never gonna get that back. Take time. Okay.
You'd have to throw that one back, Mr. Thompson.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
To the hip, hop, the hip it to the hip, hip hop. You don't stop the rocker to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. I gotta bang bang the boogie to the boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the bang. Let's rock.
Lady Million Empire. The new fragrance by Paco Rabanne.
Fire up your career. Search apprenticeships.
Kellogg's Crunchy Nut. Deliciously nutty flakes drizzled in honey.
Have you tried our Scrumptious Clusters range? There's chocolate, honey nut, and peanut butter. The trouble is, they all taste too good.
When starting a business, you sometimes need to improvise. This special ability is what makes a great entrepreneur. With Tide, you could open an account in minutes, with no monthly fees, free invoicing, accounting integrations, and much more. One less thing to improvise.
Dad, can we stop for a snack?
Not right now, darling.
Worst day ever.